Hey everyone. I just read an article from Keepers at Home, and I usually have to try to hit a couple of videos in one day because I'm still working and still have 2 more weeks to go. Actually, 7 more days in 2 weeks. And I'm really looking forward to being a full time keeper at home and caring for my dad and my husband and those I love so much. But that's not all I do when I stay home. I've got lots to do around here. I mean, a lot of pantries to clean. I usually clean my pantries out twice a year anyway. And it's time. But there's so many things I want to do. One of them, of course, is still continue to get healthier. And I'm trying. And it's just hard to do when you still work. And that um, it's just really difficult to take care of yourself when you're so busy trying to take care of others. And sometimes I really do believe that God intended women to stay home if they could. I know that the economy's gotten horrible to where most women it's really difficult. And I so appreciate all our nurses out there and the women who have just been so smart and developed all the things they did. So you're kind of torn between all that. If they can work it, that's wonderful. Maybe they, at first, my mom was able to help take care of my kids when I was working full time for a major insurance company. We had a regional office here, and it was it was law. It was a quite big company. It was a State Farm Insurance, and I worked there for almost 11 years and worked my way up to a claims adjuster. Thought that was what I wanted, but after I had my second son, uh, staying home, I got to stay home 8 weeks with him because I had a C-section, and that was the first time I ever really watched Little House on the Prairie. And staying home with my oldest son was right at 5 or 4, I think 4.5, and with my little baby and getting to watch that, and I loved Carolyn Ingalls. She was just like I was just in awe. That was the first real time I think that I really wanted to stay home and raise my kids. But that I was 27 then, and it took almost 3 more years before I could quit and do that. And my sister was homeschooling her daughters, so I started homeschooling my sons, and I was able to do that till they graduated. But I also always had to work part time still too. So I fully understand women who have to work outside the home. It's really hard nowadays, especially if any kind of debt. I had the health insurance in my 20s. All throughout that, I was the one that carried it. But once my husband switched jobs and was able to do it, he was able to carry it. But so I totally understand women who are having to work and such. So please don't take this wrong. You can still try to be, I think, a Proverbs 31 woman even while you work, because many have to work and many choose, and that's their choice. I'm not downing anybody who does that. But for me, I've always felt it was important that I tried to stay home as much as I could. And I wouldn't have been able to help with my mother like I did for about 10 to 20 years. And now my dad, if I had been working full time, it just wouldn't have been the case. But now I see my dad is reaching the point where I do not want him to go to a nursing home. He's not there, and I have no intentions of ever, as long as I'm living, he won't go. And I'll just bring someone in to help me, maybe pull it around on me if I need to, or whatever I need to do. But in this, I didn't mean to get off on that, but this, you're probably already all turned off of me by now. But this was more about, having, um, as you get older, I remember my mother say she just didn't think she ever did anything to help others or spread the word or ministry. Because when she told me that, I was working part time and homeschooling, but I also was teaching Sunday school at church and doing stuff for kids at church. And then I would also take food to seniors. I don't know how I did. I was younger. I was younger then. But also, because I worked at that time, about 12 years for a Hallmark store, I was able to buy really pretty dollar cards, but I got them 40% off. And I had a card ministry, and that meant a lot to people. I didn't just send it to anyone's birthday, but I would send it to like homebound or widow women who didn't really have, I don't think they had children or came to see them. And I did that for years. And I've been trying to pick back up on that this year because something happened. I guess it was around COVID and the churches closed and we didn't get to go that whole year. And I switched jobs and I didn't seem like I had time anymore. And I'm looking forward to getting back my card ministry again. But this time I'm going to do more just, um, and that's what the sick, like if you're sick or you're, had, of course, I've always sent sympathy cards. And it's really weird when you send a sympathy card and someone sends you a thank you card for a sympathy card. But that's what happened, and twice, both times. And I'm thinking, and another one was a get well card. I thought, bless their hearts, they must never get cards anymore. I know I don't, but it means a lot to people. So if you're homebound and you're older and you don't feel like you can do much, or maybe you don't have the money to send cards or buy stamps, pray for these people. I mean, if it's really a serious thing, drop a note. Just drop a note on a piece of stationery in the mail. That means a lot to people still nowadays. But my mom was saying that, and I was like, Mom, don't you remember the two ladies? I remember the two women at church that would not have got to go to church if my parents hadn't gone by and picked them up and took them. And she went to the nursing home and visited them. I remember on, I believe it was Thanksgiving morning. It was a Thanksgiving morning. Um, they went that morning and took gift. It wasn't gifts. They just took food to them, a cake, or I can't remember what they took to them. But she went and visited them, and she forgot all about that. And I said, your prayers. If you can't do anything but pray, what? I mean, how much more of a ministry could you have than praying for another human being? I don't mean to start crying again. I see it. Stop that. Anyway, right now, though, I've been still being able to do our church food bank. I do that every month, and I get to go normally the Friday before and help load the groceries, bag them up. Because I don't always have to work the Saturday afterwards. And then used to, I would help hand out the groceries. But now that I'm retired, hopefully we'll be able to do both again. And I used to would bag up. I mean, it was just the energy level. I guess I was younger. I would make up candy bags and put them. I'd always put scripture with it. I remember doing that at Christmas and like the candy cane, and you'd put the candy cane Bible scripture about what the red and white means. And I would try to do things like that. And our church used to do baskets for the shut-ins, and we haven't been fruit baskets and stuff. I'm hoping to do that again soon. I would like to start that up, and I can't wait to start going to the ladies' Bible class. There's things that I hope to do, but my main priority is going to still be home and taking care of my dad and my husband. And I have two grandchildren. I don't see them much, but I still pray for them every day and send them things in the mail. But there's just be an encouragement to others. I have a neighborhood full of widow women, and my husband and I get out and walk. Everybody knows who we are, so it's just during the fall, Halloween, or whatever you want to call it. They know that our house is normally a safe home if we have candy. Uh, Sorry about that. It cut me off. That's all I wanted to say. I rambled enough. Anyway, I got to hurry up and get lunch cooked and head on to work. And after today, 6 more days. God bless. Bye-bye.